And I accepted what we were doing, and how do I say this? I embraced the change that I knew was going to be happening. You know what I mean? Like, it was what it was. I didn't have all these people telling me how good they should be and how good they were going to be and all this stuff. This year is a drastic improvement from last year. And that is my big takeaway from this season. That does not mean that comes without any red flags. I'm worried about Cliff Kingsbury as a head coach. He's inching ever closer every time I see him to Chip Kelly 2.0. As soon as they figure out his little weird hurry up but not hurry up, all the weird stuff he does, I think we might have a big problem. And like I've spoken about all year, and like I spoke about last week, I'm worried about Kyler Murray long term, largely due to his size. He's getting already beaten up so much by the way he runs and the way he does things. He's very smart about it. He goes down fast when he needs to take sacks, and he slides. But still, man, and the batted balls I talked about, oh man, if I took a shot for every batted ball the last 4 weeks, I'd be fucking in a coma right now. Like, there's a lot to still sort out here. And despite all the talking heads this year and everything, I think a lot of people see this season as a disappointment, both fans, talking heads, pundits alike. And I think that's due to almost the undue stress that was put on this team and this organization due to the moves that were made. I'm making a vow now to block all of that out for the rest of time, so I don't get as worked up as I fucking did this year. I don't like being that fan. I don't like being that person. I don't like all the shit that you guys saw in our group chat during the game.
And we've all been there, man.
I directly blame the talking heads for that. And so I'm going to do my thing, as I always do with this team, is be cautiously optimistic and be results oriented. I'm never ever going to say we should have won that game again, because we either do or we don't. It's about execution on the field. And that's the approach I'm taking. I'm cautiously optimistic. Like I said, I think we're crazy talented. We have so many great players and good things going on in that organization. It's on Cliff Kingsbury to rally those guys and get that moving. And I learned a good bit this year from that. I'm hoping some of it's still just being new and being raw. But I don't know. We'll see. Cautious optimism for this offseason and for this team going forward. That's me on my soapbox, but since we're talking about our teams and everything with This Week in Football during this week 17, I'll pass it to you guys. Anybody got anything they want to...
Yeah, I would love to interject real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Kyler Murray is going to be a great quarterback. The problem with your team, and I would just love, I'm a suffering Giants fan for many years, because we had a GM in there that ignored the most important position in football. Everybody says it's the quarterback. And yeah, you need a capable quarterback, but the offensive line is the most important position across that line that you need to be a successful football team. Your line is stagnant. The Giants were crap for years because they ignored that offensive line. It doesn't matter who you have as your quarterback. If your line can't pass protect and they can't run, then you're shit. It doesn't matter who you have back there. You could have Joe Montana in his prime back there this year, and they wouldn't have made the playoffs, because the quarterback relies on that protection, and you just didn't have it. You got to give your coach time, and you got to give the GM a chance to bring in those people. Justin Pugh, how long has he been out? Jesus, he's long in the tooth already. I mean, he was
2 holding calls in the end zone, resulting in 2 safeties this year. I'm fucking done with Justin Pugh.
Let him go. The Giants let him go for that reason.
Mm-hmm. No, I know.
He's a backup guy.
I know.
Not a stud. You didn't get him. Listen, when he was with the Giants, he actually had some upside, but that was years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's past his prime. You know, I'm just wondering when every GM in the NFL is going to realize this. You know, I'm laughing because I keep hearing about Jerry Reese, who was our GM, is getting buzz out there. I keep hearing about Jerry Reese. People are talking about Jerry Reese getting interviews. Jesus. If anybody's out there listening, if any NFL teams are listening to us, don't go near Jerry Reese. He's the worst. He ignored on the defensive side, you need a fucking killer middle linebacker. You need a linebacker who's gonna be your quarterback on the defense. He calls the plays. Jerry Reese ignored the linebacker position for years. Years. We didn't have anybody. And then he ignored the offensive line, the number one. Because it doesn't matter who you have as a quarterback. But if you don't have that line, you're shit. Look at Jason. You can say, look at your offensive line was shit. They ruined Sam Darnold. They ruined Sam Darnold because they didn't have a line.
They were middle of the pack this year.
Eli Manning had. Well, they're getting better. I'm not talking about this year, Jay.
Yeah, I know, but I
think Becton's a stud, and you had a new GM come in. But look at Eli Manning. Jerry Reese ruined Eli Manning's last 3 years of his career. He ruined him. Everybody knows if you don't have a scrambling quarterback, you know, if your offensive line can't block, you're done. So I would chill a little bit, DT. I know you're pissed. I'm pissed too, and I will get into that later. But I just think that you just have a lot of upside on that offense. You got killer wide receiver. You got a killer tight end. You know, you got playmakers on that team. You just need to beef up that offensive line. You beef up that offensive line in the offseason, and we're not talking about just maybe a wild card.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about NFC championship game next year because you're that close, dude. Book it.
I know, and that's been my problem with our O-line the last couple off seasons. Like specifically, especially like fucking Justin Pugh. I saw Cardinals sign Justin Pugh. I was like, oh, he's fine. Like I wasn't excited. DJ Humphries is solid as a left tackle. Like he's the one I'm least sour on, but I still don't love him being the blind side for this franchise QB who's going to need that help with his size and frame. Like I'm happy with that, but not comfortable, I guess.
I didn't want to say it at the time, but remember we were watching the draft together and you guys drafted Simmons. And I was sitting there like, why the fuck did they not go for Wirfs or Becton? And I didn't want to like fucking rain on your parade because you were pumped about Simmons. And he's an excellent player, excellent linebacker. And he's going to be a really, really good player in the NFL next couple
Weren't you ahead of me?
You were ahead of us.
Oh.
Thank you for not taking Wirfs.
And I was like, why didn't they go tackle there? I don't get that.
Right.
Protect your investment from last year.
100%. Well, I as
was a beast though. Simmons was a great pick.
And it was an excellent pick. It just was weird that they didn't go O-line, like you were saying, like build the O-line around your quarterback. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, you're 100% right. But I guess you can. This is why you have some hope because at least they didn't just pick somebody that's not going to be a cornerstone for the next couple of years on that team. Listen, if you're doing it right, you do the offensive line first. And then you worry about the that defensive line and that front because a lot of people don't realize that with an offensive line, you can actually hide some deficiencies. Like we've talked about this, where if you have a killer line, you can actually have an above average, not a superstar running back.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And you can make him look like a superstar. And we've talked about that before in our previous, podcast. But same thing goes on the defensive side, where if you have that linebacker, if you have those edge rushers, you can hide deficiencies in your secondary because they're not back there for 5-6 seconds because you can't get to the quarterback. You know, so like I said, uh, you're in a good position, DT, and I know it pisses you off. And listen, I feel for you, dude, because I was there. I've been there. You're close. You guys are close. Fix that offensive line. You guys are close.
I fully agree.
As sorry to cut you off, Dave. Go ahead.
No, I just said I fully agree. I think the O-line and maybe with some of these other picks, sure up the DBs. Peterson's getting old. Other than Buda Baker, like Chris Banjo's, whatever. Byron Murphy maybe is a nickel somewhere. Like that doesn't inspire crazy confidence. So I think the O-line, obviously, number one. Some DB help in the draft, get some young talent in there, I think is big. And the big X factor is getting our fucking boy Chandler Jones back in that mix on the defense. And I'll be feeling really good if any of those things are executed this offseason.
Yeah, for sure. I also think what I was going to say is I think Kyler Murray is going to have to start taking a page out of Russell Wilson's playbook here. Because I don't know if this was years ago. I don't know if you guys remember this too much, but 2012, 2013, everyone was saying, "Oh, he runs too much. He's not a big guy.
Yep.
He's not going to make it. He's not going to make it."
Yep.
And now he's not even a running. People don't. I mean, he can run if he needs to, but no one considers him a running quarterback.
No.
He'll run to get where he needs to go to toss it.
Yeah.
And I think if Kyler has all the talent in the world to do that, I think if he takes, like I said, a page from that playbook and like learns to do kind of what the Russell Wilson method, as far as protecting himself, I think he could be at least a top 10 quarterback in the NFL, if not at the top 5 easily.
Yeah. Look at Griffin. Look at Griffin in Washington. He's way bigger than Murray, and we saw what happened to him. I mean, you get those quarterbacks who just they rest on they put all the eggs in that running basket, and it's not a good outcome for these quarterbacks. But the good thing about Kyler is he is accurate. I mean, the kid, he has a strong arm for a small guy. He's got a laser. I mean, the guy, he's got it. So, I mean, at least you got that. I don't think he's a flash in the pan. I don't think he's like those other guys.
No, he's got more arm talent than RG3 ever had.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fair. Cox, I hadn't heard from you at all.
No, so I brought up their team stats for the year, and so they're an 8-8 team. I think we also have to consider what division they're in. Like that it's almost like grading them on a curve, because I think in most other divisions, maybe not the NFC South, but in most other divisions in football, this is probably a 10-win team. I mean, if you look at their statistics, in every statistical category, they were better than the sum of their opponents, like on average. Points per game, 25.5 to 22.7. Total first downs, 381 to 363. Net passing yards, 3916 to 3623. Like they're just as they're constituted now, they're statistically like maybe one game better than 8-8. So maybe grade them at like a 9-7 statistically. But then you factor into what division they're in. This is the NFC West is still by far the hardest division in football right now. It just is. Every one of those teams in that division can compete. Even the Niners at half strength can compete against anybody. So I really actually think that it wasn't their year this year. It just wasn't. And you kind of got little glimpses of that, the loss to the Patriots, kind of shit like that, or
the Panthers loss.
The Panthers loss was heartbreaking. And then just in this game alone, when you're, driving down at the end of the half, and then you throw a pick six, and it just completely goes from 7-5 to 12-7.
Yeah,
you can't like that. That was the sign right there. Like as soon as that happened, you're just like, it's just not going to happen.
Yep.
So I would definitely take it, even as they're constituted right now, as somewhat of a sign of encouragement that they are growing. You always want to see growth. They are growing. You're like Mario said, and what Jay said as well, you're very close. couple pieces, one more year, you're there. Like you're gonna compete. Like there's no way going into next year, no one's gonna say, "Oh, the Arizona Cardinals." I don't really think they're gonna compete. No. They're a competing team.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So there's so many more reasons to be encouraged than there are to be discouraged going.
Right.
So I would just it's be angry now. You have every right to be upset now, but just once you kind of breathe for a minute, kind of just look at it from afar and take another glance at it. There are encouraging signs here.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
Yeah. I think we can call this segment calling DT off the ledge.
No, because I'm not on the ledge. I was on the ledge on Sunday,
No,
but
you're very discouraged. You're very discouraged.
I would have been a fucking wreck if it was my
of course.
I get it.
Jason, you've been on the fucking ledge for fucking
10 years.
yeah. No,
he's been in the ravine
for yeah.
Your mom
Hey,
It's fine down here.
told me when you were 6 years old, you were fucking on the ledge. Oh, you're fucking jungle gym. Jets fan back then.
Unbelievable. But
DT, we all float down here.
being a Jets fan right now is like being in that burning building of like the dog and just being, this is fine.
this is no, but the point I want to make is I, for the first time as a fan ever, let like the hype and the pundits get to me and affect the way I viewed the team. Because I've always been a guy like, I'm optimistic, blah, blah, whatever, but I want to see the results on the field. And I would keep it so even keel and let the results on the field speak for themselves.
I'll tell you, it's a bit different, but I was somewhat there last year with the Bucs, just because of all the offensive weaponry that they had, and we saw it in full display with Winston. But when it came down to crunch time, and Arians talked about this, when it came down to crunch time, those last 4 games of the year, in December, you got to show up. And I watched that Bucs team not show up in large part because Jameis just threw away games.
Well,
and it was heartbreaking.
What about me in Buffalo in 2016?
No, I remember that. You were bad. You were bad in Buffalo. I was worried about you. Especially since we were there. We were there. You watched it happen.
Yeah.
That's rough.
So,
man, you know, like you said, your team has a bright future. I think we.
No, and I get that. Again, the point of this and what I wanted to get out and what bothered me is that for the first time ever, I bought in to what other people. Yeah,
you left yourself vulnerable.
Yeah.
Like I said, as a Giants fan, we've suffered for so many years. Even now, like we're watching a game. Shut up, Jason. Sit on that.
We've suffered for so many years.
I know. We won a Super Bowl in 2011.
But so many years of suffering.
I'm also a Yankees fan. How dare us not win this?
Yeah. Oh man, it's been so hard not winning for a decade.
Owen, my son Owen will say to me, he said, "Dad, it's like the first quarter," and he'll be like, "Oh, we're winning. We're going to win this game." And I'll be like, "Will you shut the fuck up?" And he'll be like, "Okay, I'm knocking on wood, Dad. I'm knocking on wood." So, I mean, he knows who I am. So,
with my dad, the lifelong Jets fan, I'll go, "Oh, the Jets are up 14-0." My dad go, "Yeah, they'll blow it."
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
They'll break your heart, kid. That's why we watch the game, though. That's why we watch the sport, though. It's an emotional roller coaster. I'm off my soapbox. I'm off the ledge. I'm off everything that you guys were talking about. And with Mario kind of putting a bow on that for us, I see no better way to transition is to the other absolute travesty and fucking such a weird other thing that happened with one of our teams this weekend with the New York Football Giants. And I will let you have the floor here, Unc.
Well, I've been waiting for this all week.
Yeah, let me set up my fucking soapbox because I'm gonna tell you right now. To me, I was just fucking really just pissed off. Listen, I'm pissed off because, okay, a lot of people are saying, well, the Giants should have won more games. Okay, yeah, we should have won more games. You're right. Okay, a lot of Eagles fans in this area are like, oh, boo-hoo-hoo, Giants. You should have fucking won more games. Okay, we should have won more games. But guess what? We have fucking integrity. The Giants have integrity. Joe Judge said after the game, he did not mention the Eagles by name, but he said, you play 60 minutes to win the game, and you have a lot of players out there who are fucking playing their hearts out, who are really trying, and you just have some integrity. And the Philadelphia Eagles have zero fucking integrity. Zero. Okay? That defense, I watched the game, that defense for Philadelphia, they played their asses off. They played their hearts out, and they had a lot of good players that were out that game. Fletcher Cox was out. Brandon Graham stepped up. They were playing great defense. With limited tools, they were playing their hearts out. Okay. They had a lot of players out on offense. And Jalen Hurts, two rushing touchdowns. They were only down by 3. And probably this is how it went down. It was probably into the headset, and it was probably Doug Peterson saying, "Yes, Mr. Lurie? What? You want me to tank the game because we want to move up 3 spaces from 9 to 6? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll be right there. Oh, and by the way, I hope you're wearing those sexy panties that I bought you, because after the game, I'm going to come up there and fucking give you some fucking Philadelphia fellatio."
Oh, God.
It's just a bunch of fucking
I love the
bullshit.
alliteration, though. That was good.
It's fucking bullshit. Fuck Philadelphia freedom. It's Philadelphia fucking fellatio, because there are a bunch of fucking pussies out there, okay? And I heard multiple reports that there were players that were restrained, and then I hear Kelsey, who is the ultimate fucking Homer, the ultimate company boy. Oh, okay, Mr. Lurie, yeah, bullshit. Okay, we did our part. All we did was expect another team in the division to knock out another team in the division, but you didn't even have the balls to fucking do that. Okay, so yeah, next year we'll win. We'll win our games. We always play to win, which every team should play to win. But the Eagles are a disgrace. They're a disgrace. They are. I mean, at third quarter, you're down by 3, and you pull your quarterback, and you can see Jalen Hurts on the sideline going. They showed him close up, and they're like, "This is fucked up. This is fucked up."
Yeah.
And it sets a bad precedent. And you know what? Good for them, because they have to deal with the disrespect. They lost. Peterson lost his locker room, because there's players in that locker room who are like, "What's to say that it doesn't happen again?" Another situation where they have a player say who's a higher draft pick than somebody else, and they want to see how this kid does. Instead of winning the game, what is more important to them?
Right.
Draft position than actually winning a game. And I love what Joe Judge said, because I'm going to put a bow on it. I'll get off my box. But Joe Judge said, without saying their names, he said, you play 60 minutes to win the game, and you will never see what happened tonight. You will never see the Giants do that as long as I am the coach of the New York Giants. You will never see it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to piggyback off that just really fast, because I agree. I agree with so much of what you said. The players wanted to play and compete. That's what they get paid for. That's what they live for. That's what they do. And I definitely think that Peterson alienated his locker room with that. But not to, I am, before I say any of this other shit, I am on your side with this. I fucking hate what they did as well as a fan. Not as deeply affected or as closely affected as you by any stretch, but as somebody who loves the game of football and the competition and just observing it as an unbiased observer for 31 other teams basically in this whole league. I think that was, again, it was a travesty for the players specifically. I think the fans, as an organization, you obviously care about your fans. I think Philly fans I think they're more happy that they're pissing off everybody else than they are about losing the game or any of the other fucking shit that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But to make a point that I don't think I've seen yet from anybody, but like if you've been watching the Eagles this year, you will have seen this coming. When they played for that tie against the Bengals, you learned everything you need to know about Peterson at that point. If you're playing, he happily played for a tie. And I think what that taught me, and especially like reading the room in the context of what's going on there, I think he did what he did also to appease management, to save his job. I don't know if he's coaching there if he doesn't listen to the GM or the higher ups. If they said, because they said it was always their plan to play what's his face during the game. And if you as a coach are so worried about your job and so handcuffed that even if you're in a game and want to compete, that you feel like you have to do that, it might be deeper than what we know. And I'm not going to say it is. I'm not going to try to speculate or spread rumors or talk out of turnaround town. But I feel like as a head coach, typically you play for your guys, you want to win games, you want to be successful. I feel like there's something going on there that organizationally that is really odd and fucked up. But to your other points, yes, like absolutely, it kind of comes down to brass tacks, wins more games. None of those teams in that NFC East should be in the playoffs. It's honestly a crime to football in and of itself that any of them are there because of the way it's structured.
Agreed.
But I as somebody who, if it wasn't based on divisions, my team would be in, and none of those NFC East teams would be in. I'm not sour grapes about that because that's the structure. Because when it comes down to brass tacks, it's about winning more games, and you operate within the system that you're given, and the system dictates that Washington now goes to the playoffs because of everything that happened there. Mm-hmm. But the point I want to make with all this is I think there's something deeper going on there. But we learned everything we needed to learn about Peterson during that Bengals game. After seeing that, I wasn't shocked at what happened. Was I disappointed as a fan? Absolutely. Was I crushed for you, Mario? Absolutely. But I wasn't shocked. I was like, this is apparently who he is. And I don't know if it's who he wants to be. I think there's something going on.
Yeah. And before we pass to somebody else, just real quick, the fact that the NFL flexed that game.
Oh, God.
It's a travesty. And, I mean, and what is Peterson trying? I call him fourth down Peterson now because, I mean, he's always going for it, but then you don't want to fucking go for it. So it's kind of like wishy-washy. Don't give me that. You want to fucking win at all costs to go for it on fourth down, but now all of a sudden you're going to fucking put fucking Sudfeld in. So I totally agree with what you're saying, DT, where I think it's coming from up above. It's coming from higher ups where it's like, hey, dude, whatever you do, don't fucking win this game. So,
all right.
Cox, I know you have a thing on this because we talked about it pre-show. So
I have zero problem with what they did on an organizational level. Zero problem. The only problem is the way they went about it. If you don't want to win that game, they were eliminated. It didn't matter whether they won that game or lost. Who the hell cares? And if you look back at this next year, and the person that was taken with the 6th overall pick overperforms and does way better than the person you took at 9, well, then you're going to look back at that meaningless game in week 17 that you played to win for and hate yourself because what the hell was the point? But again, organizationally, I don't have a problem. But you need to, as a head coach, if you know that going in, which he had to have known that that's what they were going to do, that you tell your players, you tell your starters, you tell Jalen Hurts, you tell everybody, and you basically don't dress them. You basically play your, like, if you're going to go the route of, well, we wanted to give them time, we wanted to see what we had in this player. Okay, well, don't just do it with the quarterback, do it with your whole roster. Play all your practice squad guys. Who the hell cares? Set the precedent early in the week. Let everybody know. Hell, let the NFL know so they don't freaking flex your game to prime time and be like, hey, Roger, I'm going to be playing a bunch of scrubs. Don't
don't do this.
We're evaluating talent. Like, don't bother. Like, we're probably going to lose this game. That's fine. if you want to go into it, but you have to set the precedent going into the game, not in the third quarter or fourth quarter or whatever. Just be like, man, this is really close. We could win this game. Yeah, we don't want to do that. No. Sudfeld, get in there. Go lose the game, please.
Exactly. It's
like he's been there for what, 4 years, Sudfeld? They know what to think that you don't know what Nathan Sudfeld is after 4 years.
Yeah,
please.
They know exactly what he is.
You know exactly what he is. He sucks, and you know that. That's why you put him in.
He's an okay backup.
I have, again, zero problem wanting to go from 9 to 6. As an organization, that makes sense because the Eagles don't owe the Giants a damn thing. They don't owe the Cowboys a damn thing. If the Cowboys had won, they don't owe anyone a damn thing. They need to think about the long-term future of their organization because they need talent. And what talent they do have gets hurt a lot. Or in the case of Carson Wentz, is mentally broken. Like, they need talent. So I get wanting to be the 6th pick instead of the 9th. But the way they went about it is what I have the problem. That's my problem. Is you need to be honest with your players, because if they had told everybody beforehand what their plan was, the locker room would have been fine. They would have been a little like, but like it wouldn't be a big deal. But the way they went about it, what talent they do have, doesn't trust the coach, and is probably going to want to leave if they can. Like, you're going to probably see a good exodus of talent now leave, and that's all down just to the way they handled this.
But you have a quarterback who's young. Mm-hmm. He just got the reins. Don't you think you would want to see in a game where what I'm saying, yes, in a game where Washington needed to win the game, don't you want to see what your quarterback can do with all those players out there? You want to see if believe Cox, you're wrong, and I'm going to tell you why you're wrong, because they're still trying to debate on whether Carson Wentz is still worth the money they paid him, or are they going to let him go and they're going to have Jalen Hurts run the show next year? You're going to tell me in that situation, you don't want to see what your quarterback is made of? Can he, with all those people missing, you're going to tell me that they're not really trying to figure out what they had, or you're trying to go out on a high note? Listen, people want to say we're dumb, but last year we beat Washington in a meaningless fucking game. We should have Chase Young on our team right now, but we didn't. And you know why we didn't? Because the New York Giants have integrity and the Philadelphia Eagles have zero.
I'm sorry, on the part of the Giants, that was dumb. They'd be better with Chase Young. That was dumb. I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care.
Okay, you don't care about integrity.
What Jalen Hurts? You don't want Jalen Hurts to win that game, because then it diminishes Carson Wentz's value. It ultimately does. That narrative starts spinning in people's heads.
I don't believe that.
Also, you don't want any chance of winning that game because, again, it's meaningless. What if he gets hurt? What if, any one of these other things? And again, going from 9 to 6 is somewhat significant. I do not believe at an organizational level, I have no problem with them wanting to lose this game at all. I don't think it matters what in the least. I don't need to see anything more from Jalen Hurts this year. Screw that. What does it matter? I'd rather, if I'm the owner, if I'm anybody in that organization, I would have rather lost that game 100%. Screw going out on a high note. So it doesn't matter. The one thing I go into every season is are we a playoff team? Well, they were eliminated, so we already know the answer to that. Evaluate talent. Evaluate your backup talent. Everybody. It doesn't matter. Sudfeld shouldn't have even been playing. They should have fucking signed some random dude off of the street to play him and see what he is.
It's called integrity of the game, dude. It's called integrity of the game. You watch the NBA. The NBA, they find their teams. They find teams that when they put you on a fucking primetime game and it's near the playoffs and they want to sit LeBron James and they want to sit Steph Curry because they don't want them to get hurt before the playoffs, they'll find question then, Mario. Integrity.
You're talking integrity, so you think also then that Kansas City should have played all their starters and the Steelers should have. And if you're with the way you're talking, then it's universal. You got to do it the other way around. So I'm asking you that.
Game, with the Steelers-Browns game, there was a playoff spot on the line for that. The Steelers could have ended the Browns right then and there if they wanted to.
They were both in the playoffs, dude.
No,
Yeah, but you were talking about integrity of the game, playing your starters no matter what. And you just compared it to NBA teams, championship teams like LeBron, like Steph Curry.
Absolutely.
Playing in crunch time. Absolutely. Week 17 is crunch time.
And they'll sit their players in the NBA, will find them for doing.
Yeah, no, so I'm agree. What I'm saying is that's what you're saying. But if you want it one way, you want it both ways. So if this is by your logic, if they should have continued playing the Philly teams, all their players, then the Chiefs and the Steelers should have played all their guys week 17.
Absolutely. What?
If that's what you believe, then that's fine. If that's what you believe, that's fine. But I wanted to make sure that it was equal all over.
Let me just clarify.
Mm-hmm.
If Peterson wanted to bring in Sudfeld, like Cox said, start them from the very beginning.
I agree.
Yeah.
Don't put your team out there that they're playing their asses off.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing their asses off. They were putting their asses out on the line, and then to freaking just say, "Hey, come on, let's go," and they were totally totally blindsided by it. To me, that's bullshit. Because not only did
I agree with you there. But I just don't have a problem from the top wanting to lose the game.
And I
don't agree with the way they do it.
I agree with you, and I get that, and that's why I'm saying I agree with you there because, yes, and then people will say the Giants were stupid last year because we could have had Chase Young, but to me, as a fan, as a Giants fan, as a football fan, I was upset that we're not going to get second pick. We're not going to get Chase Young, which pissed me off because I want that guy. But at the end of the day, the integrity of the game, the Giants just they played to win, and everybody needs to play to win.
Okay, so look at the
Jets. Look at the Jets.
I have like 4 points here that I've been just sitting on.
Yeah, I was gonna make sure you went next.
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah, it's fine. You're fired up. You have every right to be fired up. First and foremost, I get the whole if you want to be in the playoffs, you should have won more games thing. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you should have won more games if you wanted to make the playoffs. But in that moment, in that week, the circumstances were such that you could have been in the playoffs. So I understand your frustration with that 100%.
Yeah.
Secondly, I think you're just about to touch on this with the Jets. Whenever my team is out there, I'm not gonna get pissed at them for winning a fucking game because I completely agree with the JJ Watt interview and ironically the Jason Kelce interview from earlier this year. That this is their fucking job. This is what they do. They play to win. This is their livelihood. Even those, like Coxie said, put your practice squad players out there. See, have them lose the game. They're playing for their livelihood, and they're going to give 100% no matter what. So I will never. I mean, I've never actively rooted for the Jets to lose. Was I mad when they beat the Rams? Yeah, fuck yeah, we lost Trevor Lawrence. But at the end of the day, it's out of my hands. They played the game. They played the game of football, and that's their fucking livelihood. So I think I kind of got off topic a little bit with that, but yes, I think like you said, like put the players on the field that you're going to put on the field and stick with that. Don't just pull them just because you want to lose the game. I think we're all in agreement on that.
Yeah. Face it, it shows that your team, whoever team, it shows your team is committed to winning.
Yeah,
no matter what.
That's what it is.
And the Jets were going down as a winless team. It showed that they were committed to winning. It didn't matter that we're in the Trevor Lawrence sweepstakes. Yeah. Guess what? The fans were in on it. But as a player and as an organization, you show that. Listen to the fans. Every time when we put our team out there, we're trying to win a fucking game. I don't care if it's week 17. I
Mhm.
don't care if it's week 1. I don't care what week it is. I'm showing you. You guys pay the tickets. You guys pay the PSLs.
Mhm.
We're going to go out there and win. And all I'm saying is, listen, at the end of the day, I'm happy because, okay, I'm pissed that the Eagles fucking did that, but I'm happy we pick 11th, then
Yeah.
19th.
Yeah.
Okay. It's
So
the
fair.
other way too.
Mhm.
We're picking 11th.
And I think
100%.
that's kind of the point I'm getting at is like as fans, I think, and I haven't been good at this in years past, but I think the last couple of years I'm finally.
Yeah.
Basically,
You're welcome.
What happens is you can't, like I said, it's out of your hands. Whatever happens is what, like you said with Chase Young, like, oh, we lost Chase Young, that sucks, but it's out of my hands. I'm never going to and like I said, I'm never going to actively root for the Jets to lose.
Never.
It's just not in me. I can't do it. And the JJ, like I said, this was one of my points was the Kelsey interview from, what was it 4 weeks ago that he did that?
I think, yeah,
Something like that.
I think so.
He did basically almost word for word that JJ Watt interview about
Mhm.
yeah, you play no matter what, we don't care what the record is type
Mhm.
deal. And I just thought it was so ironic that it ended with his coach actively losing a game.
Yeah.
And the other point I had was the Jags. The last 3 weeks of the season, they put Mike Glennon in over a healthy Gardner Minshew.
Mhm.
No one said boo. No one said, oh, they're tanking.
I thought it was bullshit. I thought it was bullshit.
No
I
one
absolutely
cared.
thought it was bullshit.
I think the media. That's what pissed me off is the media discrepancy. There is like, well, the Jags are clearly tanking for Trevor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Clearly tanking for Trevor.
Yeah.
And no
I'm
one
fine
said
with it.
anything. And now everyone's freaking out at the fucking Eagles, rightfully so.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of it's kind of
I'm fine with that because they set the precedent in that
Mhm.
locker room. Like, look,
Yeah.
we're gonna just put scrubs in. That's fine. We're gonna give second stringers more chances to play. We're gonna
Yeah.
give people who don't have a chance to normally play
Mhm.
play. Those players are still gonna go out there and play. But as an organization, you have the understanding of, yeah, they can go out there and play their hearts out all they want, but they just don't have the talent, and we know that, and that's fine.
for me that was
100%.
the difference. And I think this is why I agree with Mario for the most part in his frustration is the Jags, like you said, set that precedent, said this is the starter for the week. This is who
Mhm.
is going to be on the field. This and everyone knew what the fuck they were doing. But on the other side of the coin, yeah, you're seeing what you got in younger guys. The Eagles were in game,
Mhm.
like what, down 3 points or
With the momentum, they were down less than a touchdown with the momentum in the game.
It was
And
three-
then-
They were rocking and rolling.
and they pulled
Yeah.
their starters. And
Yeah.
for me,
That we all have a problem with.
and
Yeah.
I know like it's cliche and it's fucking stupid to say the integrity of the game as a fan, but like
Mhm.
anybody that's ever, and this is it's stupid. Me and DT played New Hampshire high school football, but like anybody that's played any sport in any capacity whatsoever knows that when you're on that field, you're gonna give it everything you got. And if like let's say like me and DT, our football team wasn't very good.
Awful. Awful.
If we were only down by 3 points and we were going to win a game and we're like, shit, we're actually going to win like our second game of the year, and they pulled all the starters, I would be fucking furious.
Mhm.
Yeah, and they were furious.
Rightfully
Like I
so.
said, as a Giants fan, I understand, but I would, like I said, if they had said from the beginning, like Cox said, if they had said from the beginning, said, all right, well, we're going to start Sudfeld and we're going to have other guys in there, whatever, I would have just been like, these fucking dirtbags, whatever.
Mhm.
And it is what it is.
Yeah.
But to watch the game and to see the defense, they were playing their balls off. They had like 2 amazing turnovers. They were all over.
They were looking good.
They were looking good. And listen, the offense wasn't playing very well, but I mean, they were trying.
Yeah.
And then for them to do that, it was just a big fuck you to the NFL. It was a fuck you to the NFL, and it was a fuck you to everybody else.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's more the way that it happened than
Mhm.
what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
just because it was so fucking weird to just like, oh, okay, we might actually win. Let's pull all our guys back.
I think it was like a ripcord move for Doug Peterson to prove to the higher ups.
You made an excellent point about, because Peterson was fighting for his job to begin with.
Yeah.
You made an excellent point about maybe ownership kind of tugged on.
There's that, and like we've seen this from Peterson this season in that Bengals game in overtime when they could have went for the win, and he conceded a tie. So it's either it's one of two things. It's organizationally coming down that Peterson has to operate this team in a certain way from the top, or B, completely possible, despite the fact he had the balls to run that trick play in the Super Bowl, potentially Doug Peterson is a fucking coward. That's the other possibility. But based off what I've seen in the past, I don't believe that to be true. I think management has him by the balls.
Yeah. And when you have your stars like Sanders coming out on Philadelphia area sports radio talking about we weren't happy. We were not happy. You know, and
Jalen Hurts was clearly not happy.
And you have Jalen Hurts not happy. And you have the guys on the defense that weren't happy. I mean, these are reports that came out. And you have Kelsey, who's such a fucking...
He's a flip-flopper, huh? Because
such a
weeks earlier.
Oh, he's such a pussy fucking company boy. And he comes out and says, oh, no, there was nobody being restrained. I don't buy that for a second. But like I said, I'm off my soapbox. I'm over it. Thank you guys for letting me vent.
Bro, we feel for you.
At the end of the day, I'm so happy we're picking 11th. We actually have a shot at one of the top 3 wide receivers in the draft. We're because there's a lot of needs out there for a lot of teams, and it's going to either be Smith or Jamar or Waddle or it's going to be one of the pass rushers that we need. Quiddy from Michigan, or it's going to be Rousseau.
Yeah.
So we're in a good position.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not so upset where it's like, oh, we were, say, for instance, like Tampa or the Browns, where they had such a good record that if they had lost and they were knocked out, they still had a ridiculous draft pick that wasn't going to be great.
Yeah.
You know, so I know that, 19 and 11 is a big difference.
That's a huge difference.
I'm very much looking forward to our draft podcast.
Oh, it's gonna be a blast.
I think even though we're not, we have no affiliation with Tankathon, I think we need to make Tankathon the official mock draft.
Yeah, I love that. I told you you were gonna love that website. We love you, Tankathon. Hit us up. DM me.
Draft season is my season, boy.
Yeah, he eats that shit up. He really does.
It's gonna be
any other points about this? My final point is, Mario, our heart goes out to you. Eagles organization, figure it the fuck out. That's not the way to play football for your fans or your players or anybody.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, guys. And truthfully, if you look at the Philadelphia Eagle fans, it's really not a surprise.
Yeah.
Classless. They're fucking classless.
I mean, I could have told you that like 10 years ago.
They're classless.
It would have been a pleasure spanking that ass this week. I can tell you that much.
They booed Santa. That's all you need to know.
No,
Santa.
They did. They sure fucking did. I'm gonna end this. On they threw batteries at Santa, because there's no better way to cap off any fucking story. I don't know how long this is going to take. Format's going to be weird with the way predictions are because there's less games and stuff, but I want to do what I titled on the run sheet, a head coach roundup.
Yeah.
Because there's so many vacancies for so many teams and orgs. GMs are a whole other story. We're not going to get into GMs because I don't fucking really care that much. I care much more about on-field head coach kind of stuff. Organization stuff is fine. I think there are some things that could happen that'll be interesting. But if we add the GMs to this, we'll be here all fucking night. But I also...
So I'm not very well known in the GM search.
Yeah.
So.
me neither.
Yeah, that's fair. So we're going to go around to all these teams that have needs and what's going on with them and how we think they're going to approach their vacancies and what that means for them going forward. And we're going to start with the one with the most interesting stories coming out of it this week, and that's the Houston Texans. For anybody who doesn't know or has been living under the rock but somehow still watches this podcast, Deshaun Watson is miffed, we'll say, with the Houston organization. to put it lightly, he's pretty miffed. He rumors abound that he may be trying to get out of there, requesting trades, demanding trades. We'll see what ends up happening with that. The Houston Texans, as an organization, do not have picks in the first 2 rounds of this upcoming draft at the moment. And, you know, talent-wise, I like Brandon Cooks.
Oh.
JJ Watt's getting old. There's some stuff, I guess, maybe, but they're in a very, very interesting position, especially when it comes to their star franchise QB. Right now, as it stands, they've already interviewed Jim Caldwell and Marvin Lewis and Joe Brady, who was the Panthers O coordinator, for those who don't know. The rumors are they've submitted a request to speak with Matt Eberflus. He's the Colts D coordinator. Bieniemy is expected to receive an interview. Ohio State head coach.
It's Eberflus.
Eberflus, sorry. Bieniemy is expected to get an interview. Ryan Day, Ohio State head coach. Gerard Mayo, Josh McDaniels, and Tennessee OC Arthur Smith. So they have interviewed the guys I mentioned. The rumors are they will interview those guys. I think Deshaun Watson's a big factor in what goes on here, but like, who do you think takes that job? What do you think they do? What does it look like? I guess I'll start with Cox.
Can I just remark at how egregious it is that Eric Bieniemy has not been requested yet? Why has he not been requested yet? The one person that Deshaun Watson pretty much asked for, and when he's your franchise quarterback, I feel like you should kind of listen a little, just at least a little bit. And for him to not even have a request, it says interest. Yeah, but they can't request what? Like, I don't understand. That organization is screwed. They're screwed.
They're a mess right now.
They're gonna suck for a long time. They're gonna suck for a long time. Casario's not gonna fix a damn thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why an organization that just got done with Bill O'Brien as their head coach and GM now also goes to the Patriots tree again for a general manager. I don't understand. I mean, I guess maybe we'll see if he's, how much under the thumb Casario's kind of been of Bill. Like, we'll see if it's similar to the way New England was kind of run, then we know that was a 50-50 split between Bill and Casario. But if Casario's starts doing some really different things, then we know Casario really has no experience as a GM. And why the hell was he running, or why the hell was he even a candidate in the first place?
Fair.
So I don't really get the Casario hire in terms of the GM. For coaching, it really needs to be Bieniemy. I think Bieniemy stated that he's not even going to bother. Like, he wants nothing to do with them. So I honestly don't know where they go. I honestly have no idea where they go. I guess maybe you could Marvin Lewis. I would try Marvin Lewis or Jim Caldwell. That's really where I would go. That's an organization where their players have been pretty outspoken in terms of the Black Lives Matter movement, and really wanting a stronger minority presence in that organization, especially considering an organization that stated you don't have the
inmates running the prison.
Thank you. Yeah, you don't have the inmates run the asylum. You don't have that happen.
That was gross.
I think they almost have to hire a minority candidate at the head coach. They needed to hire one either at the head coach or the GM position, and the GM position's out. So I think you got to try and go someone who's got head coaching experience. I mean, Marvin Lewis and Jim Caldwell have both at least they've been to the playoffs. So I would try and go there, but God, who the hell wants to? Other than Deshaun Watson, but if he's actively wanting to leave, you've got nothing.
So
nothing.
to put a bow on this, give me one of those names or any of the names that we mentioned, or a name that wasn't mentioned that you think will be the head coach. And I also want, is Deshaun on that team at the start of the season?
Jim Caldwell will be the head coach, and no.
Okay, great.
That's it. All right.
I like it. I like it. I'm gonna go to Jay because I think Unk's busy. So let's go to Jay.
We're talking Houston, just
Houston, yes.
Houston, yeah.
I think you're absolutely right there, Cox. I think I don't know who's going to want to go there because it's not a great situation to be in. You got the one thing that was like so enticing for a potential head coach was Deshaun Watson, and then you had the events of this week transpire, and maybe he's not there. And if Deshaun Watson isn't there, and you don't have a first or second round pick, and you are in the I think they have like 12 million in cap, maybe not even that much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
something like that.
They're in just total hell.
You can't get it as free agents. You're not going to draft any premier players. I mean, maybe this new GM hits on some mid-round to late-round guys. That's not a guarantee, especially like you said. Look, the Patriots have. I'm not going to sit here and say the Patriots haven't been fucking amazing for 20 years plus. They have been, and that's just the way it is. But it hasn't been through drafting.
No,
their draft classes have been historically.
Not recently, anyway.
I mean, they hit on Gronk and Hernandez back in, was it 2010 when they drafted them?
Around then.
Yeah.
Other than that, name a premier player that they've drafted.
Can't think of one.
Chandler Jones.
That's yeah. How long did he stay?
McCourty, who's a safety at a non-premium position. I mean, it's not like you're hitting on these premium like left tackle or pass.
They're certainly not going to get drafting a wide receiving help for Deshaun Watson.
I don't know. They nailed. I guess it's second round, I think, but they nailed that Lenore Ryan pick, didn't they? I heard his name all throughout the season.
Yeah,
he's great.
As far as head coaches, from the reports I was reading today, Bieniemy has no intention of interviewing or taking that job. He doesn't want it at all. And from what I read, Deshaun Watson, that was his guy that he specifically asked for. Was
Yep.
And then I read another report today, interestingly enough, that Bieniemy might prefer the New York Jets as his top destination.
Ooh, spicy.
There you go.
So
I like it.
And Watson wants to play for him. I don't know. See what happens. But if I had to pick between Caldwell and Marvin Lewis, I'd probably.
I mean, whoever you think is going to take it. It doesn't have to be any of those.
That's the thing, though. I think Cox has a good point. I don't know who these hotshot head coaching candidates are going to want to go there with this situation. I think it's going to be a retread on a once good, okay to good head coach. Like the Buffalo Bills OC, he's not going to want to go there. Salah, how do you pronounce it?
Salah, I think.
Salah. He's not going to want to go there. He's a top candidate. So yeah, I think it might be a retread of one of these older head coaches. Personally, I'd rather have Lewis just because he made more with less than Caldwell. He had better quarterbacks throughout his coaching career to make the playoff. So I would say probably Lewis if I had to say, because I think, like I said, Cox makes good points on the hot shots. They're not going to want to go there.
Fair.
As far as Watson, I think he's still the starting quarterback for the Texans next year.
Gotcha. Nice. Interesting. Uncle, what is your take on this?
I think the fact that Watson being there is going to be a big determining factor who they get. I mean, the Texans they're in shambles. They really are. O'Brien has left them in such a bad situation.
I am mad about it.
And shame on ownership because they let this guy come in and just sell them a bill of goods that was just like swamp.
A great beach house in Kansas is what they got sold.
It's really sad. I mean, the fact that they get rid of their number one wide receiver, once in a generational wide receiver, and they don't even get a bag of balls and a jockstrap for is just beyond me. They don't pick till, what is it, 67th, I think we said,
Yep.
which is crazy. And I truthfully, whether Watson comes back, if he does not come back, I think it's either going to be a retread. I love what you said about that, Jay. That was something I really didn't think about. It's going to be either a retread of somebody that you didn't expect to get a coaching job, but say like a Pat Shermer, Ben McAdoo, or
yikes,
it's going to be an in-house guy.
Jason Garrett. What about him? He's getting some love.
Listen, Jason Garrett is an Ivy League guy. He's too smart to go to the fucking. He's too smart, and that's what I'm saying. Marvin Lewis, those guys. Well, they're too smart. Listen, if I told you, Jason, I have a ship, you can be the captain of the ship. It's called the Titanic. It's a beautiful ship. It's gorgeous. All the amenities you need. But there's a chance that if we do hit an iceberg, it's going to go down and you're going to die. So, I mean, I don't think any of those guys are smart enough. You're going to really have to prove to me that first, I'm going to interview with you, but the first thing I'm going to ask you, are you going to do everything you can in your power to get Watson back?
Yeah.
Because
that's got to be question number one.
I'm coming to you, and you're going to tell me, we don't have a pick till 67. We have guys that are like getting long in the tooth on the defense. We don't have offensive weapons like we used to. We got rid of our best guy. And now you want me to come on and stake my reputation, my coaching career. It's not going to happen. Those guys will go out there. Marvin Lewis, be enemy smart. He's not going to go. He's already said it.
I think Houston even denied, like they said they weren't even going to give him an interview, which is weird to me.
Yeah, they didn't request one.
Yeah,
it's just crazy. It's crazy. I mean, like I said, there's something going on in that organization from the top down. That there's definitely something going, which is why Watson wants out. If there's a bright future and he can see on the horizon where it's like, okay, I can see that we're gonna rebuild and I have a future there. He wouldn't want to stay. He wants out. It's like I said about the Titanic. If somebody drove by the Titanic and said, "Hey," somebody was cruising by and said, "Hey, we got a boat. We're going the other way. If anybody wants to get off, come on now." How many people would jump off that ship? So, to me, if I had to pick one of the guys that were out there, I would say it's going to be Marvin Lewis, only because he's like a cat. He's on his 9th live.
Yeah,
that's fair.
And he wants to keep that thing. He wants to coach. He wants to keep it going. But really, who's going to give him a shot?
Right.
Except for a team that's desperate, that needs somebody with a household name. And I think he's the guy.
Yeah,
I think he's the guy. But if he turns them down, it's going to get ugly, and it's going to be a retread. And if a retread turns them down, it's going to be an in-house guy. And I'm going to tell you, there's some dark days ahead.
Yeah.
I don't foresee the Houston Texans being a contender for the next at least 5 or 6 years.
Mario, Uncle, is Watson the week 1 starter in Houston, or do you think he goes? No,
I think he goes. Like I said, I was talking to you guys earlier before we even started. I think it usually when a superstar is really upset, I mean, as an organization, you want everybody to buy in. I mean, that's a big thing now. Where you always hear this now. It's a big, the words now are culture. They're buying in.
Yeah.
And if you have a guy he's not happy, he's just buying his time. You see a lot of these, like, look, the Giants shipped out Odell because Odell was a distraction, but he didn't buy in. You see it all the time. Jamal Adams, the guy's a fucking monster. And I know, sorry, Jason. So
also, fuck that guy.
You can see the sweat coming down your head when I talk about him because he's a generational safety, but
probably the 6th best safety in the league.
Oh my God. But he does not, he didn't want to be there. So what do? You do something. You try to get what you can. You try to, get as many assets as you can for a superstar. You have Watson. You don't have any draft picks that are worth shit.
No, you do not.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're gonna try to get, you're gonna try to shop him for the best assets you can get. So no, Watson, he is not. If he's the day one starter, I'd be totally floored.
Speaking of Mr. Jamal Adams, this is just something very out of left field. It has nothing to do with this conversation, but I thought it was really funny. He tweeted out today a picture of him in a Seahawks uniform that said, "I'd rather stand up and face it than run away from it." Hashtag Prez.
Oh God!
Annihilated by Jets fans.
As he should be. This is obviously a very interesting case study, but I feel like everybody's hit most of the points I want to make. So I'm going to keep this brief because we also have a lot of these to do that will probably more rapid fire after this. But since this is a very compelling case study, I think everybody made great points. They're not in a great position. I think the job either does go to one of these older head coaches who saw some good success, but hasn't had a job in a while and maybe wants to reprove and establish themselves as somebody who can be a head coach in the league. So I think great candidates there are Caldwell and Lewis. A weird dark horse that I want to put in there just because I don't think I've seen him rumored for any other job is Gerard Mayo. I think it depends on how badly he wants to get out from under Bill and how badly he wants to see if he can coach his own team. And if nobody else takes that job and they find he's not one of the hot shot guys, he's not somebody I've seen on anybody's board, but we've seen some real head scratchers in terms of coaching hires before that some have gone great, some haven't. And if we want to piggyback off Cox's point about them having a POC in that position, I think the top three probably are Caldwell, Lewis, and outside chance Gerard Mayo for that spot. I think when it comes down to brass tacks, I think it's Marvin Lewis. For the reasons we talked about. Steady Eddie, pretty good guy, did a lot with a little some years. Maybe tries to prove something because I don't think one of these top tier guys goes there. I also don't think Deshaun Watson's there. There's too many other appealing ways for them to rebuild the organization.
Okay, so 3 out of the 4 think that Deshaun Watson's gone. So just rapid fire, who does each of you think that Deshaun, where do you think he goes?
After talking about what we talked about in the pre-show, it fucking might be New York. I'm picking New York Jets.
Yeah, well, it could be the Jets, or it could. Listen, I don't think it's the Giants, only because at the end of the year press conference, Mara has already said that they like Jones and we need some playmakers. But if you're an organization like the Jets, yeah, I can see it. But at the end of the day, my prediction is he goes to the 49ers.
Gotcha.
I think they need a quarterback. I think it's more of Watson's climate. I think he wants somewhere closer to where his roots are. And the East Coast is definitely not that.
Yeah.
So,
fair.
It's fair.
Coxey.
I'm going to go somewhere different. And I'm going to go with the Miami Dolphins.
Oh,
because the Miami Dolphins can trade Tua, and they can trade picks. They have 2 first rounders. They can trade some picks and trade Tua and get a true franchise quarterback where they're not going to be like, well, if he's not working, we can throw in Fitz. They won't have to do that, and they can go. If the Dolphins can pull that off and get Deshaun Watson, look the fuck out.
They're a Super Bowl contender.
How hilarious.
That right there.
How hilarious would it be, real quick?
That's the shot take of all shot takes.
How hilarious would it be if Miami trades Houston's number 3 overall back to them?
Here you go.
You want this back? Here's this and Tua. Give us once. If O'Brien was there, it would have happened already.
That's extra fucking spicy.
It's fucking real. I like it. I like it a lot.
Extra fucking spicy.
Jay.
From what I've been reading, the top 2 were
well done.
Absolutely, the Jets and the Dolphins, which is really weird to me. But I think those 2 teams have the most.
If he wants to go win now,
draft
They'll go to the
capital
Dolphins.
and well,
Because
yeah,
the Dolphins are more built than the Jets are. No offense.
no.
I think
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility for sure.
Yeah, see, my whole thinking about with like the whole New York teams were, and what makes them more appealing is, okay, nobody really knows what. I mean, Tua is like, he's still wet behind the ears. I mean, he hasn't even really had a whole season under his belt. So what I liked about the Jet scenario was that Darnold, he's got potential. He could be a quality starter, and they have draft picks. As far as the Giants go, I thought that, listen, I think it's far-fetched, but if they're going to get a quarterback in return, say like Darnold, Jones, I think Jones and Darnold are very similar as far as a talent evaluation. At this point, they're very similar. I mean, even though Darnold is a year ahead of Jones, I still think that their ceilings are very high, and they're both accurate, good quarterbacks. And I think that would be appealing to Houston.
If they're going full rebuild, absolutely. If they're trying to tear the house down, which is clearly what they have to do.
And if you're going to get if you're going to get a quarterback in return, I think that's super appealing, and draft picks.
Yeah,
I think that's super appealing.
100%.
For me, Darnold would be the throw-in. So you get the second overall pick and Darnold. So you draft a quarterback and have Darnold in your roster and just see what
as a safety blanket. Yeah, 100%. I hate to rush this, boys. We're like an hour and 15 in. I knew this is gonna happen. I'll toss it to y'all. Do we want to go through these other head coaching things, or do we want to get into the games? I don't know how long the head coaching stuff.
Yeah, let's go to the games.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit about that.
All right, just checking. Fucking hell.
So we can talk about them. We can talk about those other ones as they happen.
Yeah.
Well, the only other one I would consider is talking about is the Jets, because we have the guy here.
The enemy. That's what I want. Let's see what it's gonna be.
Do it.
That's who it's gonna be. That's it. Good.
Real quick, I did think about this and I forgot to bring it up as far as the coaching and as far as picks go.
Mm-hmm.
If the Jags can pull off picking Urban Meyer, do you think they take Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah.
Or do they take Fields?
No, they're taking
quarterback.
Fields
is quarterback.
They're taking
Fields.
How does
that
he recruited Fields, but he didn't really.
But Fields, if they win the national championship with Fields and beat Trevor Lawrence, think about it.
Fields could throw for 900 yards.
Throwing it out there.
No, here's the thing. Fields could throw for 900 yards and 10 touchdowns in the national championship. They're still taking Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, Lawrence has done it for longer.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So the divisional or the wild card games this week, boys, because that's where we're going next. We're done with this.
There we go.
It's raining us in.
I'm trying to. Let's go with the only guy who has a team with any stakes in here. We'll go Tampa Bay. Fuck your ears versus the Washington football team.
Everybody got to pee now. Everybody go. Let's take a piss break now.
Just like Cox go, we're just gonna.
Yeah. You'll be back in 30 minutes and nothing will change.
Yeah, I mean,
see,
I just don't like. What's it like? What do people honestly think that Washington has a chance here? Does anyone here think Washington can win
any given Sunday?
I do.
Boy.
Apart from that.
This is the 10-year anniversary of the 7-9 Seahawks beating the Saints in the playoffs for the week. So anything can happen.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So here's the things. So one, let's start with Tampa on offense. Washington plays so much zone coverage. They do it well, and they do a great job of passing off guys. Like their corners will pass off when they need to. They do a really good job of staying zone. They have a great defensive awareness in their zone. They're pretty good at it. The only problem with that is that when they do this zone, they're typically only rushing forward. They don't do zone blitzing a lot. They rush 4, drop 7. That's like their baseline defense. That's what they do. Yeah. Tom does bad under pressure, but typically that pressure's coming when you blitz. And when Washington does blitz, it leaves them very vulnerable. and you can get into a lot of problems with zone busters. And the Bucks have gotten very decent at these kinds of plays in the last 4 weeks. Now, I hear a lot of people saying, well, look at the teams that the Bucks have beaten in those 4 weeks. Yada, yada,
Oh,
yada.
God damn it, you're going to steal my point.
Okay, but here's the problem. Anytime you're putting up 40 points, I don't care who it's against. That's significant. And,
Could be the Bucks. That happened to them, right?
and it could be. And also, let's not forget that Atlanta, not the week prior, held Kansas City to less than 20. So don't sit there and tell me that the Falcons are a shitty defense. No, the Falcons can play. The Falcons can play.
The
And
Jets
when it
also
came
beat the
down,
Rams, so
when it came down to crunch time in the fourth quarter, when it was close in that game, the Bucks said, "No, fuck this," and they just went and put up 21 points in a quarter. Like that offense is clicking. It is 100% clicking. It has come together. This offense is now one of the scariest in the NFL. It's still behind like KC when they want to play, and the Bills, and it's right there with the Saints and the Packers.
I'd put the Ravens the last 5 or so weeks in there.
They've been very hot.
Yeah. But there's no way that Washington's going to be able to contain them defensively. It's just not. It's not going to happen. Chase Young doesn't have more than one sack in a game, I think, all year. Maybe once, but I don't think he does. I'm not worried about edge rushing because they've done a much better job of, just keeping that extra tight end in, and that's what they'll probably do, unless they're going to, put Chase Young, on the right side of the offense, which they're not going to do because they're going to try and attack Donovan Smith. Then they're just going to put another person over there. They're just going to put a tight end there and help out. Or again, you have Fournette that can just come in, boom, quick chip, boom.
Yeah, really, really quick. No team in the modern era has won a game has scored triple digits. Because the way you're talking, it sounds like the Bucks are gonna.
The Bucks are gonna put up 35 at minimum. At minimum on this team.
Is that your shot take? Is that a shot take?
I'll take it.
It may not be the one. We can add more. It's playoffs, baby.
There's no way that Tom Brady does not lead this team to 35 plus points. It just there's Washington and then Washington offensive. We can get into that. Who do they have? That's
Scared Terry.
Not fully healthy.
Yeah.
Antonio Gibson still not fully healthy. Turf toe. I remember years ago. What the fuck, turf toe?
Sucks ass.
Suck it up.
It's not fun.
I've stopped. I didn't fully understand.
It sucks.
But now I've read more about it and gotten into the weeds on what it is and you're not. That's not I don't care how if he's playing or not. He's not 100%, and it's affecting him. It really is. And you don't run against the Bucks anyway. You just don't. You can't. So I'm not seeing offensively where they're getting points unless it's off of a short field by a turnover. And I'm not seeing a lot of those either. So I'm just, and especially if Alex Smith's probably not even going to play the full game. They're talking about doing this rotation with, I forget the backup's name. But
it's like Hennessy or something.
Yeah.
Taylor Henneke.
That's not it at all.
Henneke.
So they're talking about doing that. That's not going to work. And if you put Alex Smith in it all, and you Keel Barrett and JPP and Levante David, hey, there's an injured wildebeest over there. Yeah, they're going to go treat it like a damn injured wildebeest, and they're going to fucking eat the day. That's how it works in the Serengeti. That's how it's going to work.
So you might like the Bucks in this game. It sounds like
100%.
I'm thinking you might like the Bucks.
100%.
Yeah, really?
I think the fact that it's only an 8-point line. I think it should be.
Give me a score. Let's move on.
40 to 17.
All right, great. Thank you, Jay.
If Tampa was fucking genitals, you put the dick and the balls in the mouth at the same time. Like, I'm surprised we can
Sorry,
hear
the
you talk.
NFC East doesn't deserve to be here.
I changed my mind. Mario, go.
Listen, this game is Tampa's going to win the game. I agree with you. Tampa.
How dare you? No.
But it is not. It is not going to be a run over like you think it is. Listen,
No, it
when
is.
the Giants played Tampa that first game, I know it's a different team now, but everybody was just like, "Oh my god, they're going to get fucking slaughtered." It's just one of those games. And to me, the factor is Tom Brady. I don't trust Tom Brady in a game where if you're facing a defense that can get to you, he could just disappear. And it doesn't matter what you have out there. If he's not going to get the ball to you, that's going to be a problem. Listen, they win the game, but nowhere near what you think it's going to.
Oh, yeah.
And believe me, I don't like Washington. I fucking can't stand them, and I want them to lose. I just think it's going to be way closer. You're going to be on the edge of your seat more than you think you're going to be. So you might want to fucking go out and try to score some anal poppers out on the fucking street.
Yeesh.
Because your fucking asshole is going to really fucking need some relaxing.
Here's why I did not want to face the Giants, and it's because of Joe Judge. Joe Judge knows Brady a hell of a lot more. He's been in around him. He knows his flaws. He knows what rattles him. He knows how he operates way more than Ron Rivera does. Oh, or Jack Del Rio, who Tom Brady eats for lunch. Tom Brady eats Jack Del Rio for lunch.
But Cox, at this point, everybody knows what Tom Brady is. Everybody knows what his kryptonite is.
But only certain people can do it.
But it's not about certain people. It's not about the coaching. It's about the players. If there's anybody out there that can get pressure to him, it's the Washington team. They got that whole line is first round picks. All of them.
It's great, but there's only 4 of them. It doesn't matter. There's 4. They're not going to be able to get to him with 4.
Yeah, I'm sure Brady said the same thing when we played the Giants.
Let me ask you something.
That was different. That was a different.
Cox, let me ask you something right now. Do you think the Bucs offensive line is better than Dallas's offensive line? Give me an honest answer on that.
The answer is no.
Yes. The way they performed this year, yes.
Because the Giants,
right now, yes.
The Giants were sacking Dalton, he's a lot more mobile than Brady is, with 3 pass rushers, because they were able to disguise and throw some zone in there. And I'm just worried. I'm just worried that if, and I know it's a big if, and like you said, it's a big if that Washington line is able to get to Brady, it's going to be a long fucking day.
But like they're not going to be able to get to him. They might get a few sacks, but they're not going to be able to get to him for 60 minutes.
It depends on you've seen Brady. You get more than 2 sacks on him, and it's in his head.
He's different. He's different in January. Different in December and January.
What's your score, Mario?
We did.
What's your score, Mario?
Thank you for keeping us on task.
I like the banner, but we gotta fucking move.
No, I hear you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Tampa wins 30-21.
Gotcha. Jake?
I'll try to keep this brief. Just to kind of go off of what Mario was saying. Yeah, different in January. Tell that to the New York Jets in 2011. Tell it to the Giants in 2009. Tell it to the Giants in 2011.
How many rings does he have?
That's fair. But
how many with you in his 40s?
He threw 40 plus touchdowns this year.
This is not the point. That's not, and it has nothing to do with what I'm saying. What I am saying is, when you get pressure on Brady, he does fold.
He's a different quarterback.
He does fold. Like, that's just, we've seen that.
That's fine, but they're not going
to. Okay. He might, maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. This front 7 is very good. I think you're taking this team a little too lightly. I think that they do have potentially the players in the front seven to give Brady some problems. With that being said, Tampa Bay is going to win this game 28-14.
Fair.
Real fast, you keep saying front seven. They don't rush seven. They rush four. The other three are meaningless.
Not really.
I mean, they play in the game.
Yeah,
So they
but if you look at offensive,
Can we say something negative about your team and have you just accept it and not come to the white knight aid of your old fucking dad?
So Cox, front seven refers to the potential rushers. So you might drop a fucking defensive lineman. You might drop this linebacker. You might blitz this linebacker. Front
I
seven,
understand, but
they're all in play on every play. That's why I say
We get it. You don't think they're going to get there. You think it's going to be a blowout. You've said it for the last 20 minutes. Can we move on? Thank you.
God, thank you.
Tampa wins the game. They do. We all agree. So I don't know why he's getting so fucking uppity about this. It's insane to me that we're like, hey, this might be a tougher game than you think. And he's like, no, it's impossible.
That's not what I said.
His asshole is so fucking tough, puckered up. You couldn't get a fucking pin up his ass with a jackhammer and a fucking gallon.
I think he's projecting. I think he's more scared than he's leading on, and he's projecting because of it.
100%.
it's a Green Bay.
Oh, Green Bay is gonna fuck you up.
The Bucks win this game 27-17. Let's go with that. Jay?
Yep.
Bills Colts, the game that Cox would probably cover if Tampa was in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
These should be a lot quicker.
I hope so.
I'll try to keep this a lot briefer than the last one. The Bills have been an absolute tear. I tried to look at their schedule because I wasn't completely remembering who they had played in their 5-game win streak.
Mm-hmm.
They played good defenses, really, really good defensive, and have torched them. Because my whole point was going to be, well, the Colts have a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that I will say is that Mr. Jonathan Taylor is averaging over 125 yards a game in the last 6 games. And if there's been one kryptonite for the Bills this year, it's been the power running game.
Mm-hmm.
If you keep Josh Allen off the field and you run it with Jonathan Taylor and you have the experience of Mr. Phillip Rivers making those clutch plays, then I think the Colts have a chance here. I do.
Mm-hmm.
They have a pretty good defense. And like I said, with that power running game, I think that could be the difference maker. Keep Josh Allen off the field, keep that offense off the field. I want the Bills to lose, but the Bills are going to win this one, and I think it'll be a pretty close one. I think it'll be 30. Let's go 28-24 Bills.
Nice, Unk.
I agree. I mean, I really like the Colts defense, but I just think that the Bills are they're just clicking right now, and Josh Allen is playing, out of this world right now. He's one of the hottest quarterbacks in the NFL. And I hate to give Cox more spank material for later, but Josh Allen is really playing well. It's going to be the Bills are going to win the 27-17.
Gotcha. Cox, I wonder who you have.
It's the Bills. I know.
Wow.
Hot take of the week. My boyfriend is red hot. My boyfriend has been red hot. And he will continue to be red hot. I do like Jay's point, though. Jonathan Taylor's a huge X factor in this.
Yeah.
Because if they can power run and really keep him on the field, then that limits a lot of what, the Bill, because otherwise the Bills will put up 56 on you as the Miami Dolphins going to test it. But this will be a close game. Also, I think DeForest Buckner is going to be a huge X factor in this, too. Can he penetrate that line?
He's the AFC Defensive Player of the Month.
Yeah. Can he get, because he is so integral to what they do defensively. Yep. And we've seen that this year. So if they can get to Allen and if they can keep him off the field, that's big. But yeah, I'm going to take the Bills, but I'm going to take them winning it late with a late touchdown drive, pass to Stephon Diggs. And it's going to be a 28-24.
Nice.
for the Bells.
I like
Mhm.
that.
Yep.
And Buckner, not a Pro Bowler.
Not in anything. It's ridiculous.
That's
But
insane
that,
to me.
that's another story.
I like what both these teams are doing.
Mm.
I called the Colts as a playoff team in the preseason,
Sure did.
and they're there. And I'm very happy about that. Very salient points made about Jonathan Taylor. I love that fucking guy. He's a
I told you he's good.
I,
Like, oh, they got a boy.
yeah. I mean, I took him in 3 fantasy leagues, and so like, yeah, I was high on him as well. Their defense is crazy good. I mean, obviously so is Miami's, but Miami, the whole shtick with them is they're the no-name defense.
Right.
2.0. These guys have DeForest Buckner. Lest we forget the maniac, Darius Leonard, arguably the best LB in the league. I fucking love that guy.
I don't even think it's arguably. I think he is the best MLB in the entire.
He's so good. That team, and that's a major factor for their success. The run game with Jonathan Taylor, and the experience of Phillip Rivers. That being said, we know one thing as a certainty in this world. Phillip Rivers does not win playoff games.
That's true.
And that was the deciding factor for me.
Yeah.
He's long in the tooth. If he were to do it, he would have done it by now.
Yeah.
Give me the hot team with the hot young QB who's been pushing the shit in out of everybody lately.
Yeah.
Momentum's a thing. It's real. I think they could run into a bit of a wall here with that vaunted Colts D, which is fucking insane. Very, very good.
Very underrated, I would say.
Yeah. But Phillip Rivers doesn't win playoff games. And I think it's a fucking heartbreaker for Colts fans. I think Tyler Bass kicks a field goal with when time expires.
Yeah.
So give me 27-24.
And I would
Bills.
say real quick to piggyback off that, it's kind of disturbing, your whole analysis right there. You said hot team, hot quarterback, pushing the shit in.
Yeah.
That was some subliminal shit.
Hey, people like what they like, dog. I'm not here to yuck anybody's young.
2021, baby.
Yeah. Mario, talk to us about Ravens Titans.
Oh my god. All right, so listen.
Oh my god.
These chocodiles.
Whoa. Last time they played, it was Titans had an overtime win. The big cat Henry had 170. But I just think the Ravens are like they're clicking right now. And Tennessee's got one of the worst defenses in the league. They're horrible. They're that bad. So, like you said, I'm going for the hot team, the hot quarterback. I think the Ravens will pull this one out. I think it'll be close, but the Ravens will pull this one out. I think it's going to be like 27-21.
I like that. Yes.
I'm gonna. This is a slight hot take because I completely agree with what Mara said about the hot team because they have been hot and they've been running up and down the fucking field for like 2 weeks. But give me the King in this one for like 200 fucking yards. Give me like a nice Tannehill fucking clincher touchdown to win at 27-20. Titans.
Sweet.
Love it. Coxey.
So I'm taking the Ravens, and I'm taking the Ravens because as RG3, who I really wish would just kind of shut his mouth because he's not going to be out there. As he said, there's a team out there looking to get their bike back because the Titans stole their bike last year.
Yeah.
Straight up took their lunch money, took their bike, and just gave them a big middle finger as they went to school. And I think the Ravens are going to take that back, and they're going to run up and down, pass when they need to. It's funny because both these teams play somewhat of a similar offense, very run heavy, play action pass when you have to. And I think that's going to be the case. I think that's going to be the case here, but I think it's going to be the Ravens that come out on top on this. And I think it's going to be a 27-23 kind of affair.
Mm-hmm. Fair. I bet so much money last year on the Titans playoff run. and I won so much money on the Titans playoff run. I learned, do not bet against the Titans in the playoffs in these first early rounds. Give me the Titans because I think, again, they're very similar teams.
It was split.
And they're very similar teams, very run heavy. King Henry's in the 2K club.
Well, it's because me and DT stand a king. You
Yeah, we
not in the king club yet.
Yeah.
I don't bend the knee that easy.
You don't bend the knee.
And I love the
bend the
king.
knee.
I love the king, but at the end of the day, it's the defense is just
They're both defenses really aren't that good.
yeah, but the Tennessee's defense is a cut below.
Yeah.
That's more than fair. I give the edge back and why they win this game to Mike Vrabel. He coach. This team is deadly efficient when it's running well. And I think there's no better time he's shown that than playoff time last year.
Yeah.
I was shocked that they went on that run, and I was surprised that they even did this well this year. So now that they're in, all fucking bets are off, baby. I'm back on the Titan train to make a run here. So I learned I won a lot of money last year doing this. So why dance with who brought you? You know. So it's gonna be the King Henry show. Tannehill is gonna be his efficient self. X factor is that pass rush is typically pretty nice from the Ravens. So it depends on how quick he can get the ball out and how much they're fighting on the runs and things like that. So it'll be very interesting. It's probably the game I'm most looking forward to out of these. And it was the one I was going to pick if Mario didn't pick it for the one he was going to analyze. But give me the Titans here. 21-17. I think it's a pretty low scoring affair.
Nice. I picked that one because it wasn't in your division.
Yeah. Fair.
I figured you want to do Seattle. You know,
well, that's why I did pick that after. I was like, it's in my division. So to cap off our big four like deep dive analyses here, I have Seahawks versus Rams. I'm not going to get that deep dive into this because I don't think I need to. Fuck the Rams. A.
Wow.
Number B. The Seahawks won the biggest bloodbath in football with that division and are playing at home. Typically a bigger factor in the non-COVID era. I agree. But that means the Rams still have to travel. I don't know what the deal is with Goff and Wolford. So that's...
I don't know.
I heard
it's questionable.
Game time decision.
It's not going to happen. Come on.
Regardless, give me Russell Wilson and his wealth of playoff experience and the team that, despite some hiccups, has looked more consistent over the season. The Rams were very much like the Cardinals with some fucking head scratchers over the course of the season. I don't know what I'm going to see from them. In the battle of the backups, as it was dawn for most of last week, they couldn't get anything done on like a semi-middling, Cardinals D. Yeah. Although I like a lot of our guys, that's a fucking whole different story. But and where this shines is Metcalf versus Ramsey.
Mm. Yeah.
That's gonna be it. That and Chris Carson, and if he can be that guy they need to get 3 yards in a cloud of dust for them, that steady Eddie consistent guy. But give me the Seahawks because they were more consistent throughout the year. They have the home field advantage. I'd honestly probably give the coaching edge to the Rams and McVay. I think I like him more than Pete Carroll. But the Rams have had those ones where you can't trust them. You can't trust them. And my take was whoever came out of the NFC West with the least blood on their fucking jersey was the one who was going to go the distance. So I got to go with the Seahawks here. Unk, let me know. Let me hear it.
Ooh, man, I'm just telling you, this is one of those games where I was going back and forth. I'm going with the Rams.
Okay.
Jalen Ramsey. Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams is not 100%. He's not.
I think it's a game time decision, right?
He's a game time decision. I think he'll play because that's just the kind of guy.
Yeah, he's a stand-up guy.
I think he's a piece of shit, but that's
Mhm.
beside the point. He's still a fucking hell of a player.
Yes, I'm not gonna deny that.
Ramsey, I think Ramsey. Last time they played, he held Metcalf to one reception. I just think that defense, and truthfully, it doesn't really matter to me who's playing quarterback. I think who's the quarterback? Wolford? Is that
Yeah.
his name? It's Wolford, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he played pretty decent last week. I think he really did.
told you he was good.
You really did, Jay. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to go with the Rams here and an upset, 24-21.
Lovely. I shouldn't have gone to you at all, Cox.
So just so we're all on the same officially.
Who's out?
Jared Goff. He is he's officially listed as Goff.
He's officially listed as Jared Goff. To clear up that controversy.
Wait, what?
Dental records they use.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
We did some forensic science. So yeah, I wasn't super inspired by Wolford. Like he was competent, but I mean, then again, Jared Goff's not. I don't really feel like is much higher than competent. And this offense isn't hard to very easy. We kind of saw that Wolford could go in there and be competent in it. It's not they're not asking you to do a lot. So I think they're really going to be the Rams are leaning on to make stops, get short fields, and make plays, and they can do that. I mean, this Rams defense is legit. They can do that. This is going to be an extremely low scoring affair. Like DT at the end of the game, in the playoffs. I'm taking Russell Wilson to win a game because he can do that.
Yeah.
And in terms of the coaching, I will say I think it's pretty kind of neck and neck. I really like Pete Carroll as a coach. I really, really do. Other than the one he's made, like he always kind of like his teams are always there, like all the time.
Kind of helps you have one of the best quarterbacks.
No, I get that. I get that.
Easy sour grapes.
I get that, but like he's still pretty good. So I'm still gonna take Seattle, but it's gonna be like 23-17 kind of game.
Awesome. Yeah, Zay.
This is a tough one just because it depends on what happens here. You got the Rams, who are the best defense in the NFL statistically this year. And then you got the Seahawks, who are, when they decide to show up, will blow teams out of the goddamn water. And when they decide not to show up, will lose these really random, weird games, or be close in these weird games. If Wolford's starting, which it sounds like he is, according to Cox, I don't. He's not going to outduel Russell Wilson. It's just not going to happen. Give me the Seahawks here, 24-17. Actually, 24-10.
There you go.
Dang. All right. So that does it for the slate of games that we all had like individually covered. So let's rapid fire these last two here. Let's start with Bears Saints. Cox.
Saints. Bears aren't going to score enough points. Saints. 35-20.
Great. Unk.
Saints all day long. Saints 37-21.
You
just really wanted to be different, didn't you?
Yeah, love it.
I did.
Yeah, Zay.
Yeah, give me the Saints here. There's too much firepower. 31-10.
31-10 is a good score. I think I'm going to steal it and also say the Saints because Mitchell Trubisky does not know how to play the game of football. I'm going to say it as long as he is still in the league.
The playoffs are too big for Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Not that I think we'd fare much better in that spot. So I'm not sour grapes on it now that I saw how the matchups shook out.
you give me a playoff game and a wet Nerf gun, Nerf football, and you put me out there. I could throw it 70 yards.
Love it. Love that. Last but not least, for sure, we have Browns v. Steelers in a Week 17 rematch. Let's go to Jay first.
So the Browns will not have their head coach on the sideline because of COVID. I'm gonna go Steelers at full capacity. Give me like 31 to like 28. Give me a close one here, Steelers.
Wow. Okay. Unk.
Browns.
What?
Give me the Browns.
Love it.
I'm not convinced. Listen, the Steelers have not been the Steelers since Dupree and those guys have been out, and they're still not running on full capacity. Give me the Browns, and I'm gonna say the Browns win 28-24.
All right, great. Coxite.
If the Browns were not as shorthanded as they are, I would too. But Batonio's gone. Myles Garrett is questionable. Sheldon Richardson's questionable. Conklin's questionable. There's just Olivia Vernon's done. Jesus Christ, like they're just so hurt right now. So I can't, in good conscience, take the Cleveland Browns. I think they're going to keep it really, really close, and they're going to show that they are a legit team. But this is going to be 21-17 for the Steelers.
Gotcha. That leaves me, right? I went to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Just checking. I was very locked in on thinking about exactly what I want to do here, and I think it's similar, but almost similar but different to Colts Bills in the fact that instead of going with the new hotness, I'm going to go with the people who have been here before. Big Ben, Mike Tomlin in the playoffs, always formidable.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Browns give them a game, especially if Garrett plays. Especially if Garrett plays. I think it could be very, very compelling down the stretch here. Geez, what do I want to do? 27-24 Steelers. Let's go with.
Close game.
It's going to be a close game. I have no doubt it's going to be a close game.
Absolutely.
I think it'll be a really fun one to watch, and I'm glad that that's in the primetime spot.
Yeah.
So for this round, there's a lot less games to choose from, boys, but what are your shot takes? I know, Cox, you have the Patriots, sorry. They're not in the playoffs. Can we all like resonate on that for a hot second?
Yes.
You have the Bucks scoring 35 plus, and that's just because of who you are as a human being. But what's your shot take for another shot?
Another shot. I will go that Josh Allen still has four total touchdowns.
Ooh, that's got some spice on it. Oh fuck, we should all do our shot takes, huh? As well. Yeah. I still don't have this part very organized. For reference, for those last week who forgot, I have them written down finally this time. 3 out of the 4 of us have to drink. The only one who doesn't have to drink is the ever controversial and spicy take of Daniel Jones throwing 2 touchdowns by one Jason Yazinchuk. So spicy.
No one argued with the take, so I said, "Wait, you're gonna let me get away with this?" Okay.
See, I don't shot shame around here. I'm not a shot shamer.
It's as spicy as throwing a little pepper flakes on your pizza.
Yeah, it's like, damn, man, what's on this turkey? Is that salt? What are you doing?
Is that cracked pepper?
Yeah.
I'll do one just because my take wasn't all that spicy.
But the rest of us, for reference, mine was Hassan Reddick has 4 sacks and 2 forced fumbles. Not even close. Did not get close to that. But it was very spicy, and I got a lot of people fired up, so I was happy with that. Cox had Cam Newton for under 100 yards and 0 touchdowns, which I labeled down as super wrong. It was not. That was also not close. And Unk had Darnold throwing 3 TDs, which was also incorrect.
Wrong.
Super wrong.
I'll do it in the
In solidarity.
Of the no.
The integrity of the shot take.
Integrity of the shot take.
I appreciate it. So you have.
So for future reference, boys, when you don't do a spicy shot take, this is what happens to you.
But
Woo.
So Coxie has.
Pig.
Yeah. Oh, rip. Well, it's so lovely. So because of who Cox is as a human, he has 2 this week. Bucks 35 plus points, and Josh Allen for 4 plus TDs. Unc, you got one for us?
I do.
Can you tell me?
Can you enlighten us?
King Henry rushes for less than 100 yards.
Oh my gourd. That's spice.
Is that spicy?
No, he only did that twice this season, I think. So
It's gonna happen again Sunday.
damn. Wow, you're very in on the Ravens D, huh? Interesting. Jay.
Is this spicy enough for you? Phillip Rivers, 3 touchdown passes and 300 yards.
Okay.
Against the Bills D?
It's a little,
I'll take it.
I'll take
it's
it.
like
I'll take it.
It's like Chipotle.
That's like
the green sauce,
yeah,
not the red sauce.
Okay, let's get a little spicier.
the Verde.
Taylor, over 200 yards rushing.
Jonathan Taylor over 200. That's spicier.
No, there's
That's like
that's
Emerald
some,
Lagasse.
that's some
Bam!
ghost peppers.
I got some spice for you. I'm also gonna return to the Bucks game.
Mm.
The Washington front sacks Brady 4 or more times.
Make it 5.
Oh, are you not confident? Are you not confident? You didn't think they were gonna sniff him all day.
I want you to have a little more spice on it. Make it 5.
I love
5.
I also just want to see you drink. Make it
5 or more sacks.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
2 by Chase Young out of the 5.
Ooh, his first multi-sack game of the year.
Spicy.
You want that? You want that fucking shit?
There you go.
Can we add to our shot takes?
If you want to.
If it's your
Yeah. Yeah.
All right,
Make it harder.
So Henry goes under 100, and Brady throws 2 picks.
Oh, all right. We're just going nuts. You could also make that 2 separate ones if you want.
Make it 2 separate ones.
2 separate shots.
All right.
Yeah.
It's the playoffs, boys. If you want to get
Anything good.
weird,
Can't hold anything back now.
Be back now.
I'll do one more. I'm gonna add a second as well. DK Metcalf goes for over 100 on Ramsey to make up for his 1 reception performance.
I like that.
I can see that.
That's
happening.
habanero.
No, against
That's
Jalen
habanero.
Ramsey.
That's like
habanero.
2 big plays, which is absolutely
No.
That's why it's my secondary. That's why it's my secondary shot take.
Listen, Bradbury shut him down. I think that's spicy, right?
Yeah. I think he wants to get revenge on the 1 reception game. You know, it's a bounce back. It's a bounce back. All right. Big question, boys. It's similar but different to the one we did before because now the All Pros came out today. And we love debating about the Pro Bowl. So the All Pros basically the same thing, except for me, I think it has a air bit more prestige because less people get it. There are only 2 teams. It's based off the Associated Press votes. You guys want me to run down the first and second team, or you just want to pontificate about the people who made it in general?
So you can just pontificate. I have the list up.
Yeah, as long as we all have the list. The highlight I will say is Aaron Donald and Travis Kelce were both selected unanimously, and that was a big note. But other than that, we can just talk about, you know, who's there, like that we think is fine and should be there and should be celebrated for getting the recognition they deserve, and who was snubbed, because we like talking about who didn't make it, who should have made it, and who maybe is a head scratcher for being there. I just like going to his opinions first for some reason because it's funny. So Cox, tell me about how both teams should just be fucking Buccaneers.
all Bucks.
No, absolutely not.
And a quarterback to be named later.
I don't.
Wait. Where's D.D. Westbrook?
I am appalled. I mean, I don't know. I'm fine with just the fact that it's Devin White and Levante David. Like they are so much of what the Buccaneers do on defense. I'm not shocked that the Bucks there's no one on offense for them. Like I'm not, because like they've done a decent job of spreading the ball around. So like no one player's really stood out. I think on the second team, I think we kind of alluded to this a little bit pre-show. Cole Beasley. You didn't like Cole Beasley being.
He got one vote. The way that the votes got distributed means that anybody who got one vote got on the second team, and those people are Calvin Ridley, DK Metcalf, and Cole Beasley. All got one vote.
Because Marcus May got 4 votes. He's on the second team.
No, it's the way that the specific the position got distributed, and the way that the vote shook out.
I can tell you right now who voted for Cole Beasley, and that was Peter King. Because he was on PFT earlier, and he straight up said that he voted for Cole. And his reasoning I actually do like, because the way he looks at the team when he votes is that he votes as if he were actually building a team, like a starting 11. And every starting 11, or most, have a slot wide receiver. They all do. And Cole Beasley, of all the slot wide receivers that there are in the league, Cole Beasley's arguably the best one. Like he's the best one there. So I have no problem with Cole Beasley being there. He's been instrumental, almost as instrumental as Stephon Diggs is, because if any time that they key on Diggs, just go to Cole Beasley and he's just as good of an option for them. So I don't have a problem with him being second team at all. I mean, I look at these teams and I'm not like, other than the fact that
are we talking all pro? Like all pro is like the all pro
best of the best. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the best.
We're not talking second team. We're talking. Like,
Well, Cole Beasley's on the second team.
He's on the second team.
You're saying Cole Beasley was snubbed from being first team. That's the
No.
I just don't have a problem with.
No, because we're talking about both teams right now, Jay. First and second.
My biggest thing is just where's DeForest Buckner? I just don't understand.
Where is Bell?
Like we saw it this year when the Colts didn't have DeForest Buckner on defense. They weren't the same defense. He was instrumental to everything they do. I just don't understand where he is. Like I just don't get why he's not there. That's my biggest thing.
Anything else that jumps out as you?
He is here. He's on the first team.
DeForest Buckner?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's there with Donald.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that before. All right, well, then I don't really have a problem. I'll shut my mouth.
Were you just looking at the second team? I was like, what? You were saying that point, and I was like, what is he? What?
No, for some reason, like in my scrolling, I just completely missed him.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely fucking there.
So that's just my bad. I'm just an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
We all knew that.
Yeah. Fair. Any other things that jump out at you that you want to comment on at all, positively or negatively on these lists?
I do like Bakhtiari.
Fuck yeah. I love David Bakhtiari.
Bakhtiari is dope as hell. Like kudos to him for getting paid this year. Like
hope he comes back stronger than ever.
Same. It's a shame that he's not going to be playoff run for this year.
100%.
Fucking shame.
Love it. Yazzie.
So the way I interpreted the question was snubs for people that made the Pro Bowl but should have been all pro is the way I interpreted the question.
Well, whatever way you want to slice it. Like
so mine was Jaire Alexander for the Packers, the cornerback. And what I had written down, actually have stats here. He's 5 fewer yards per catch than Xavier Howard, and more pass breakups than James Ramsey, who were both the All-Pro cornerbacks.
No.
I think the only reason he didn't get the All-Pro nod is because he plays for the Packers, who historically don't have a good defense.
That's fair. Yeah.
And I think it's more of a name game. This is my whole argument. I think it's more of a name game with the Pro Bowl. The dude's been lights out all goddamn.
Very fucking good.
And he's been lights out for the past 2 years. I think he needs more recognition, and I think the only reason, like I said, he's not getting the recognition with the stats I just gave, it is just and there needs to be. I don't know what the answer is, but there needs to be some sort of fix for the Pro Bowl nods, because it seems like every year, no offense to you, Mario, but Evan Ingram making the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, pathetic. You're not offending me. I was disgusted when I saw it happen.
Yeah,
the Pro Bowl.
it's just I think there needs to be some sort of like
Yeah.
more objective way to pick these players, because with those stats right there for Jair Alexander, he's one of the best, if not, I think he's like a top 3 cornerback, probably top 2,
Hmm.
which is obviously what I'm arguing right now.
Yeah.
In probably the entire NFL right now.
He's fucking great. And for reference, in case you didn't see, he is the first vote on the second team. He's the number 1 corner on.
No, yeah, I know he's that's how I interpreted the question.
Yeah.
Who should have been first?
You think he should be first team? That's more than fair.
Yeah,
That's more than fair.
I think he should be first team, was my argument there.
Yeah. That's fair. Any other comments, positively or negatively, that hit you looking through the teams that you want to comment on?
Nothing in particular. I like I said, it's more or less like a fucking name game.
Yeah.
So it's
Fair.
It's hard to like pick and choose.
Gotcha.
Unless you weed through the stats, you know.
Yeah. Unk.
Listen, I'm gonna take a different take, and I'm just gonna say I really fuck about any of it. I think it's bullshit. I think it's a fucking popularity contest. I think it's fucking garbage. There's really no stock in it. Take a little of this, take a little fucking, go underneath your fucking ball sack, take the cheese, and sprinkle it on your fucking pizza, because it's bullshit, okay? That's what I'm gonna fucking say.
That's a yummy pizza.
Listen, I'm gonna talk about my own team. You got James Bradbury, who's basically
He's very good.
was he gave what 19, dude, the guy
19 what?
19 yards 19 yards given up. He's got fucking 3 interceptions this year.
Mm-hmm.
He was a shutdown fucking corner.
Mm-hmm.
He makes the Pro Bowl, but he doesn't make the All Pro team. Okay, well that makes a lot of fucking sense. Just like Buckner, he doesn't make the Pro Bowl, but he makes the All Pro team. Or he did not make the Pro Bowl, right? Or no,
He missed the Pro Bowl, made the All Pro.
Yeah, but like I said, it's total bullshit. Blake Martinez, 157 tackles, just a beast. I mean, like I think he was like the second in tackles.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't make it. It's just a popularity contest. It's garbage.
I think
it's bullshit.
To Mary's point, yeah, and like I was saying, I think there needs to be an overhaul on how this is voted in. It needs to be more, like I said, there needs to be more statistics involved in this, I think.
Yeah, I mean, shame on me, because like when you sent us out the run sheet and we were talking about it, yeah, I could have dug deeper and I could have did more, but to me, it's just bullshit. I mean,
it's fine.
You run down the line. There's so many players on so many teams where, oh yeah, they should have made it or they should have, but it doesn't matter. It's it's silly. It's like the Hall of Fame voting for baseball, where there's a guy,
My issue with the Pro Bowl voting, and this is my main issue with the Pro Bowl voting, is that the amount of Pro Bowls and All Pros that you make directly correlates with it whether or not you make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
and that's kind of an issue considering how these players are getting voted into these Pro Bowls.
Yeah.
Because you could have a player, like, let's say there's a player on the Jets that's just like lights out every fucking year, but they win like 2-3 games a year. He's not going into the Pro Bowl. We don't know that, because it's like we said, it's a popularity contest. So let's say, hypothetically, there was a player on, not necessarily the Jets, any team that's not good for like 10 years, that was good for those 10 years. Nick Mangold. Let's say Nick Mangold. Probably the best center in the league for 10 plus years. He probably won't make the Hall of Fame just because he played for the Jets and didn't make enough Pro Bowls. And I think they need to adjust how we evaluate these players career wise, I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
you're 100% right. There's a lot of, you look at stats. Well, everything is stat driven. You see, PFF they were the highest graded offensive lineman through 10 weeks, but for some reason they don't get the accolade.
Exactly.
And to me, it's just silly. There needs to be a better system, like you said. There needs to definitely be a better system in place where it's not a popularity con.
Because it's all a vote at this point.
Oh, absolutely. And these sports writers and a lot of them are like, I guess they're the ones who are voting for a lot of these things. They're so biased.
Oh yeah,
They
for
really
sure.
are. I mean, you look like a guy named Skip Bayless, who is such a douchebag. He's such a Cowboys homer. If it was up to him and we had to deal with it, then everybody, all these guys would just pick their own guys, and you're not being fair to who should be in. You know, like you were saying about Cole Beasley, I do think that he's probably top 3 slot receivers.
Yeah.
I think they should
Absolutely.
put slot receiver as a position on the Pro Bowl ballot.
Absolutely. So to me, it's just like, well, how come he makes it in, but somebody else with better stats, doesn't? Like you said, perfect example, Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram, what a joke.
Yeah, what the fuck was he doing?
What a fucking joke.
So, all I want to ask is for all of us who what we're doing is sharing our opinions of who should be in this, criticizing people who shared their opinions on who should be in this, and then saying how the system sucks. Do you have a solution? Before I get into my thoughts on all this, because this has opened up a whole other Pandora's box.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, and like,
eventually it comes down to some group of people's decision, no matter what way you slice this. It's going to have to, and it depends on how valid we all assign those opinions.
I think it should be more objective, and I'm not necessarily saying it should be based on like PFF stats or anything like that. But I think that the statistics should play a bigger role than like.
Wait, what? You want to be more of a stats guy? What?
Clip it.
Clip it.
Everyone forgets that I got a master's degree in ABA, which is predominantly statistics driven. So
get it, Jay.
I am kind of a stats guy. It should be statistics driven for the Pro Bowl. It should be more objective. Right now, it is completely subjective, and it ruins people's careers. Honestly, it really does. I mean, there are guys like Demario Davis, when he was on the Jets, he had just as good, if not better, of a year than he's had for the Saints the last couple of years, where he's made multiple Pro Bowls. But he didn't make the Pro Bowl on the Jets. Why is that?
Mm-hmm.
How about this? How about you do it by division? So you do NFC East. You take all the defensive ends. You take the cornerbacks, whatever. Just saying. NFC East, NFC South, NFC West, you take those guys, you take their stats, and then you compare them within the NFC itself. So, say for instance, Blake Martinez goes up against another linebacker in his position in the NFC South or the NFC West, and then you pick from there.
I feel like you guys are arguing more about the Pro Bowl than the All-Pro list, because the All-Pro is league-wide. It's all 32 teams.
Yeah, but it stems from the Pro Bowl list, though.
And they're pretty different most of the time.
So here's my solution. My solution is for each position, you have a statistical formula that weights different stats that are more valuable to that position.
Yeah,
and then those have multipliers that factor in strength of schedule, like how good your quarterback, like for like receivers, like how quarterback was.
See, then you're getting in the weeds a little bit there. I don't know about
no, because it's a lot easier for Tyreek if he's got Patrick Mahomes and playing a shit schedule versus Darius, say Darius like Slayton, who plays a much tougher schedule with not as good a quarterback. So it kind of gives you a more balanced playing field with looking at, because again, we still say football is the ultimate team thing. So you have to kind of put into account let's be real. Who's better at throwing DeAndre Hopkins the football? Is it
me?
Deshaun? That's true.
David Taylor.
Or who's better? Like, what do we think if Megatron had Drew Brees throwing him the ball? Would he be statistically better than with Stafford?
That gets a little subjective, though, because
that's not subjective. That's objective.
All right, real
because
quick.
you can statistically change those multipliers solely based on the stats of the quarterback. So
But
everything plugs into each other.
All right,
I don't believe.
Let's take into account that the quarterback rating measurement is an objective.
I'm not saying use QBR. I'm saying you can statistically make another form.
Sorry, Dave, I cut you off.
Did DT just fucking throw a tantrum?
Well, to be fair, like the last we like jump in front. Let him go.
I can't rein you guys in if you don't fucking let me talk. We're at like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I'm trying to pull it in, and you guys keep going, and it's fine. Like, I love the banter, but I didn't want to get in the weeds about this. Cox's solution is we let a robot do it. Mario's solution is we do it by division. The point I was trying to make is there's no perfect way to do it. I didn't think you guys were going to be like, no, actually, we're going to sit here and solve this right now, which I love. I love that energy.
Solve it.
I love that.
And listen, and you're right. You're right. But I just had one question.
Sure.
Because I think Cox was saying that he had, or I think a lot of you guys said you had like the list in front of you, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Real quick, did Devin White make it?
Devin White's second team.
Correct.
Second team, okay.
Second team All Pro.
Blake Martinez didn't make any of the teams.
Nope.
Yep.
Blake Martinez has 151 tackles. Devin White has 140.
Devin White has
Avery
more
Williams-
stacks.
Avery Williams. What I'm saying is the stat doesn't stats prove like what you've done? So that's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Like what DT's saying is like, yeah, there's no real way of doing it, but it's flawed. It's definitely a flawed, which is why I said it's bullshit. Who gives a fuck?
I think me and Cox's point is it's more flawed than it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like it could be more fine.
Mhm.
All right, my point to get us home, I treat the All Pro with more stakes than I do the Pro Bowl, just because the fans aren't involved and there's less spots. It's more exclusive. I think it's more highly lauded. So I put more stake into the All Pro than I do the Pro Bowl. And my quick Cliff Notes thoughts, I think it's kind of cool but kind of weird that because Kelsey was unanimous, literally no other tight end in the league got any votes, so there's nobody on the second team. That's neat. That's neat. Love Quentin Nelson. He should be a fucking Pro Bowl or All Pro forever. I think Gunnar Olszewski is a weird punt return pick for the first team.
I thought so too.
I think it's weird that so many people tied in wide receiver. Metcalf, Ridley, and Cole Beasley all got one vote, so they all make it, which is weird because I would not put one of those guys in the category that I would the other two.
No.
I think it's rad that they tied in votes, so Minka and Buddha both make first team. I will take that all day. I think Roquan Smith should be ahead of Fred Warner and be the ILB first team. I think they should be flopped.
And
And-
really good this year though.
Yeah, but I got a Roquan Smith boner. And I'm pumped to see Jesse Bates make the second team at safety because I really liked what he's been doing the last handful of years.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
That's my thoughts. We have to fucking go home, so I'm gonna leave it there. Do you guys have anything productive that's not gonna get us down a rabbit hole to say as we wrap up?
Yeah, I would just say next time, stop rushing us.
We're going too fast. I know.
Such a fucking stickler. I'm fucking tired of it.
Ah, man.
Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the playoffs, and I love you guys.
Same.
And
Love you guys. We love all y'all listening. Thank you for bearing with us as we run a bit long here. We love you. If your team's in the playoffs, we hope they're going to win. Even if they're playing the Bucks, I am a Washington football team fan this week. Don't fucking do that. That might make some weird shit happen.
We usually say unless they're playing one of our teams, but
In this case, I don't care who you are. We hope your team wins, especially if they're playing the Bucks. But we hope you have a fantastic week of football. We'll see you next week, and we'll try to keep it tighter next time. But we love you. Say bye, guys.